Hello, Twins fans, and welcome back to another episode of From Lee to Limestone. I'm Matt Lenz with Twins Daily, and today I want to talk about why the Twins should absolutely be buyers at the trade deadline. Recently, MLB Trade Rumors updated their top 50 trade candidates available. Now, this list could change here in the next week or two as more teams maybe become sellers or buyers closer to the trade deadline. But as of about July 1st, they updated their rankings of who may be available and who would be most valuable at the deadline. And here's why I think the Twins absolutely have to be buyers at this trade deadline. Pitching wins in October, and the Twins have one of the best, if not maybe the best, pitching staff in all of baseball. And even more importantly, they have one of the best, if not the best, starting rotations in all of baseball. Pitching wins in October, and they have the pitching to be successful. Clearly, as we all know, the offense has been the downfall this season. Now, with that said, we had that players-only meeting a couple weeks ago. It didn't turn into very many more wins or even runs, but one thing I will say I have noticed is that the Twins are taking better at-bats. They're striking out a little bit less, still not at a great rate, but they are striking out a little bit less. It just hasn't turned into runs and ultimately wins outside of that Kansas City Royals series, of course. But I think if we can supplement the offense with the biggest need the Twins have, that this could be a very good team come October. Again, pitching wins in October. We have the pitching. We just need the hitting. In fact, here's the biggest need our team needs, which I don't think is any secret. A right-handed outfield bat. One that could maybe play in center, one that for sure could play the corner outfield positions. We have a ton of left-handers, including we have two more in St. Paul in Trevor Larnach and Matt Wallner. We really need a right-handed hitting bat. And so looking at that list by MLBTR and then pairing that with baseball trade values, I have found a couple trades that I would like as someone who thinks we should buy at the deadline. Now, let me just preface this with one thing, is that, again, I'm using baseball trade values because outside of that, it's nearly impossible to assess any sort of trade value from just a fan perspective. Also, I only use one-to-one trades, one player for one player, two for two, etc. Again, it's just really hard to know what teams really want or need, and to balance that when it comes to all the factors that come into play when it comes to a trade. So with all that said, here are a couple names I like. They're actually both on the Mets, and they're both right-handed hitting outfield bats. First one comes in at number 10 on their list is Tommy Pham. Now, he's on the downside of his career for sure. 35 years old, this would be just a half-year rental, would be an unrestricted free agent, of course, in come this offseason. But aside from a very slow start, he's actually been one of the better hitters in baseball since March. In fact, his overall OPS on the season is 865 over 217 plate appearances. That's actually a very good OPS to have throughout the entire season. And again, that takes into account the fact that he kind of started the first month of the season pretty slow. And what's probably even more important here, at least to Twins fans, especially the very, very disgruntled ones, is that he has very respectable strikeout and walk rates. And so he could kind of lead the team in that way and trying to get away from all the strikeouts. Plus, then again, he's more of a better fit matchup-wise because he's a right-handed bat. That's probably my top target. And I don't think it would take much. Again, using baseball trade values, I think it would really only take one of the following, depending on what the Mets want. One of Keone Cavaco, Blaine Enlow, and Alaric Soler roughly have the same value there. And so, again, I think we should be buyers at the deadline. I'm fine dealing prospects if it means we improve the offense. Another name, again, with the Mets, Mark Canha, and this one's a little bit more interesting. I would prefer Pham just for the production, but this one's a little bit more interesting because Canha does come with a team option next year, so that even adds a little bit more value to him from a trade perspective, because the Twins are in control of next year when it comes to Canha, and that only comes with a $2 million buyout, so pretty inconsequential if they decide not to pay him next year. He has a little bit less of an OPS at 749. He can play a little bit of first base, so he's a little bit more versatile in that way. And here's what you will love. He has very, very good strikeout and walk rates. So he would be even better in that sense as we try to swing the pendulum the other way and improve these rates overall as a team. Overall, the production would be a little bit less. But again, he's a right-handed bat. He doesn't strike out a ton. He knows how to take walks. So there's a lot to like there. And just taking all that into consideration, he is roughly the same value as Pham. He's technically a little bit more valuable because you do get that extra year of team control, and that's a pretty big deal. And so you're looking at, again, Keone Cavaco is in that range. Alaric Soler is as well, but also Jose Urbina, or if they did want a more of a pitching prospect, Andrew Morris. If you haven't heard of him, check out his Fangraphs or Baseball Reference profile. Pretty impressive 4th-round pick last year for the Minnesota Twins. So that's a name to keep an eye on as a prospect, but also maybe somebody that we could throw out there as trade baits for someone who's pretty far away from the major league level. So again, I absolutely think the Twins need to be buyers. You don't often have the best pitching staff or one of the best pitching staffs in baseball, so they really need to take advantage of that with some of these prospects that they have. I would love bigger names than the two that I mentioned on this list, but again, those are the two names that came up on MLBTR's list. So we'll see if more names pop up as more teams become buyers or sellers, but that's what we have for now. I would love to see one of those guys added, if not even a bigger name, even if it means giving up a bigger prospect. Let me know what you think in the comments on Twitter at Lenzy2108 or on YouTube, Musings from Twins Territory.